So here to speak from the Football Federation today, Football Supporters Federation today, is Malcolm Clarke.
Thank you very much. It's always a great pleasure to be in a meeting of fellow football fans, because without match-going fans, there wouldn't be a professional game. We are the heart and the lifeblood of... As you can probably tell from the badge on my I would have been here anyway this afternoon. But a few months ago I wouldn't have actually admitted that before the game I'd have had to have come to a meeting like this. But it's a great pleasure to be in the newly appointed City of Culture, or should that be... whether it should have been the tiger of culture. But I think there's a serious point there about culture, because a football club is not a private company in the way that Tesco's or Sainsbury's or your local garage are. A football club is part of the cultural heritage of the community in which it is situated. That is what is at the heart of questions like this. And I think the analogy that we like to draw in the Football Supporters Federation is with listed buildings. If you buy a listed building, you can't then just do what you want with it without the permission of the local community as expressed through its democratically elected local representatives. And in a way, a football club is the kind of football equivalent of a listed building. And the fact that you have bought it or that you own it legally doesn't mean that you should be able to do whatever you want with it. And that is the fundamental part of it, because there's different concepts of ownership. There's a strict legal definition of ownership of who owns the particular company, in this case the football club. But really the moral and spiritual owners of a football club, in my view and the view of the Federation, are its supporters. And the generations of supporters that preceded you, I'm quite sure that many of you will have started supporting the club because your family or your father or your grandfather did, and equally your children will carry on that tradition. And owners come and go, players come and go, managers come and go, but the supporter base, based in the local community, which is the lifeblood, will be there forever. And so that's, in a sense, what the fundamental issue at stake here is. Now, it may surprise you if I say that I don't actually have a view on what your football club should be called, any more than I would expect you to have a view on what Stoke City, as it's currently called.
Stoke Potters!
Stoke Potters, yes. But
Potty time!
What we do have a view on, very clearly in the FSF, is that the name of a football club should not be changed unless it can be clearly demonstrated by a robust process that the majority of its supporters want that to happen. That is the test. And the club itself could undertake that test if it so wanted. My club, Stoke City, every year runs through the club's website ballots for our supporters' council, who are elected to represent supporters in meetings with the club. And in the modern day, it would be very easy for a Premier League club to conduct a survey of either its season ticket holders or its season ticket holders plus its members on a very simple question to see what they think about this particular proposal. So it could easily be done. And our view is that unless it can be clearly demonstrated that the majority of the supporter vote wants such a fundamental thing to change, it definitely shouldn't happen. But the decision on this does not lie with the owner or the club itself. The decision lies with the FA under Rule 3L, which quite clearly states that the registered playing name of a club, and at the moment the registered playing name of your club, and you can look it up in the FA handbook, it's on the internet, the registered playing name of your club is Hull City. And every year forms are sent into the FA about who owns clubs and what the registered playing name is. And Rule 3L says quite unambiguously that a playing name cannot be changed without the approval of the FA Council. It couldn't be clearer. You can read it for yourself on the FA website. Just look up the FA handbook. And so the legal, in football terms, the constitutional position is absolutely unambiguous. That requires the permission of the FA Council. And as you will have seen the day before yesterday on the FA website, the FA announced that it will be following a process, part of which involves consultation with supporters. Now, I have to say that I am confident in that process, provided that you, and this is where you come in, submit your evidence and your case in the proper way. And that, I think, is the next stage. It's now time for you as Hull supporters to present the case that you want to make to the FA. You need to respond and answer the case put forward by the club, if that is the case that they put forward, that this is done for marketing reasons. You need to respond to that. But more important than that, you need to demonstrate what Hull supporters think about this. And I know there's 6 or 7 different supporters organisations, and you may come together in the future in a lesser number, I don't know. But the important thing is that all of those organisations, assuming they agree, that all of those organisations submit evidence to the FA on signed paper saying, we are the fan team, we are the supporters club, we are the trust, whatever it is, and we are opposed to this, and get that in as part of your submission to the FA. It's absolutely vital that you present the appropriate professional case to the FA when it comes to consider this. That's the first stage of it, presenting your views and the evidence. The second stage is getting other people to support your case. There are 2 key members of the so-called football family that are important in this. One is the league that you play in, the Premier League. There was a report the other day I read in the press about a meeting that had been held that sounded as though it went fairly well. But it's absolutely important that you make sure and persuade the people you met at the Premier League that the Premier League submits its views to the FA. It's equally important that the local county FA, which is part of the FA's structure, also submits views to the FA, and you need to be talking to your county FA about that. They are the local embodiment of the FA, if you like. Some of you probably play for football teams on a Sunday or whatever, those teams will be affiliated to the county FA, and there's a structure there, and it's vitally important that the county FA is fully aware of your views, so that when it makes its response to the FA, that will be clear. And it's equally important that the City Council expresses its views to the FA. And it's equally important that the local MPs express their views to the FA. So it's vitally important that you work to get all these key different elements of the local community and the football family saying what they think to the FA, and that you persuade them of your viewpoint. Finally, I hope that you're members of the Football Supporters Federation. It's free. You can join online, fsf.org.uk, and we will be conducting a poll of our members who are registered as supporting Hull City. So we obviously want the more members as possible. I don't want to be accused of ballot rigging, but we will submit that evidence to the FA. And the more Hull City supporters are registered, quite apart from this issue, the more football supporters we have who are our members, then the stronger we are for representing football supporters generally. So I'd be wanting you to join anyway. But leaving that aside, we'll be conducting a poll of our members and submitting that as evidence as well. We're now in a position where a formal process has been followed, an application has been made, and the FA will consider it as part of the due process. And that's why it's absolutely important that the views of Hull fans are made clear to the FA through properly submitted evidence and documentation, and that you work to get on your side as many of those people who I've mentioned as possible. So, thank you very much for the invitation. Finally, I have one final request, is that whatever you do in the 90th minute, please don't encourage your team to do what they did against Liverpool in the 90th minute.